Wyoming's radio station, 1030 KTWO, 8:35 on this Friday morning, and he is a man who loves his film. He is a man who shares that love of film with students at Natrona County High School and has for a number of years, and he brings a film to the big screen with us tomorrow at the Rialto Theater. The film is called Stanley, and Lance Madsey joins us this morning. Lance, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Brian. How you doing?
Good. Front page news today, you are.
I know.
How exciting is that?
It's really exciting. You know, I didn't think it was going to be front page, and so when I went into Mini Mart to pick up a copy for my folks, I grabbed a few, and then I left a couple, and this older guy came up, and he's like, "That's you."
That is you.
He's like, "Thanks for leaving me one."
Lance Madsey, part of this wonderful production of Stanley, and Stanley is first off. Let's start with the story of Stanley, and where did the story of Stanley come from?
Actually, my buddy Dick Grunert, who works for the Cartoon Network out in L.A., he wrote it and sent it to me. We used to be buddies back in film school out in Chicago, and I read it and just totally flipped. I thought it was amazing. And my buddy Dick, he writes and writes and writes. He's really good at what he does. And there was just something in my head that said I could do it. And so I started gathering up friends and past students who are working out in the industry, and my buddy Bob Price, and who's got an excellent cameo in the film. He's really great. And so I think if you know Bob, that's definitely worth the price of admission, for sure.
We certainly look forward to it because for me, many of these people are familiar, and you've seen many of them on stage at Stage 3 at Casper College. Our friend Trevor T. Trujillo, Don Anderson Coates, our friend Elizabeth Andrus. The list goes on and on and on of these wonderful actors and actresses. And the story itself, Trevor was trying to describe this earlier today as a slasher, romantic, drama. There are a lot of different aspects to this particular show, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a romance in its own way, but then turns into something else. And that's something that Dick loves. He likes blending those genres to help make it interesting, and it definitely is. But it's I'd say at its heart, it's a horror film more than anything else, and that's what I grew up loving as a kid. I've been watching that kind of stuff ever since I was a little shaver. So definitely, it was a pleasure to make.
Yeah,
in lots of ways.
And how difficult as director to put together a full-length feature film in the city of Casper, Wyoming?
There were a lot of things that were. Well, a lot of people who were incredibly friendly to me, but I think one of the things that bothered me the most was I had to figure out, how to get locations and to do it for very little money or free if we could do it. And my buddy Kelly Estes, who works for the school district, he used to be our film office guy. He's the one that brought in Starship Troopers when it was here.
Right.
So I called him, and he goes, "Well, I have a friend over at the Visitors Bureau," and so I called them, and they basically helped me find all the locations. Stephanie Erickson from the Visitors Bureau, which was wonderful, just wonderful. And I know in the industry out in California, you have to pay for everything.
Sure.
And so making it in Casper and not having to pay for most of the locations, that was a big deal. That was a really big deal.
At the same time, this is not done. You still had to pay for things. You still had to. Had to have a budget for this movie, and that money had to come from somewhere, and it came out of your own pocket. I know you sold your house and your children, and anything you possibly could to finance this film. Why, Lance? Was it this important? Was it that important to put this together?
It is. I've always had a passion for film, and when I was in college, I even started studying biology teaching because I loved that kind of thing. But there was always something in my head saying that you got to pursue this, and so went to Columbia out in Chicago, and I'm so lucky and blessed to be able to teach what I love and share it. And I just have this passion. To be honest, I don't know where it comes from, but I'm so glad and lucky that I have it.
Now, obviously, you have shared this movie with some folks. How has the reception been so far?
Well, my buddy Dick out in California, he showed it to some of his friends at the Cartoon Network, and he said that it just killed, which is the perfect way to describe that. But he said that, folks were laughing at the right parts, and they really enjoyed it. And so that's basically the only people who have seen it so far is his small group of friends and the director of photography, Justin Schell, who was a student of mine, who works out in California, and I was so lucky to have him come back and actually act as director of photography on it.
Yeah.
So, so the response has been good.
Yeah, and Dick wrote the thing. I mean, did he feel that you got what he wrote?
He did. He thought it was paced right, and that I think more than anything, he's just really surprised and so glad that we made it. But there were some things in the script that I wasn't able to pull off. And, I think I approached it as if I was doing it for Dick, producing it for him. Because, we're best friends. We've been like that for a long time. And, he said that he really liked it. And he's watched it a few times now. And each time he watches it, he'll send me something back that says, oh, I love how this part worked. And so, I'm really happy.
Happy to hear that. Well, and again, now everybody else has an opportunity to see this. It happens 10:30 tomorrow morning at the Rialto Theater. $8 gets us in the door, and again, that just to help Lance, pay a couple of bills and maybe buy a pair of shoes for heaven's sake. Because again, as a labor of love, what happens now? I mean, after the showing here in Casper and the opportunity to see some of our friends on the big screen, what happens with this film?
The next step is to get it sold. I mean, really, that's the goal. Taking the risk to get that reward, selling the film and distributing it. And so, festivals is the next step, getting it into as many of those as I can. And Dick's helping me with this, letting me know which festivals he thinks that, it would get into and be successful. And so that's where it goes next. And then hopefully somebody will see it who likes it enough to distribute it. So fingers crossed, fingers and toes crossed.
Well, and that distribution could be just simply straight to DVD kind of a thing, and then making it into your local store, or it could be the selling of the story and a redo of the show. It could be to the big screen and a paranormal activity that costs $12,000 to put together that returns $64 million, right?
Yeah. Well, that would be wonderful, but definitely we'll take any one of those scenarios would be incredible.
Well,
incredible.
Lance, I know this is your heart and your soul and your life over the course of the past couple of years, and we wish you nothing but the very best of luck on it.
That?
Can't wait to see the show.
Thanks so much, Brian.
You bet, Lance. Keep up the good work, would you?
Okay, you too.
Thank you, sir. That is Lance Madzia again with Stanley as it hits the big screen tomorrow, 10:30 over at the Rialto. You can find out more on Facebook, Stanley the Movie, and there's a trailer there. There's more information on the show, some great pictures, some great photos and more. Find it on Facebook today.